welcome back, talkers, to another episode of Let's Talk. And today's our spin-off from episode 2, Fiercely Feminine. And today we are talking the bedroom. And we have got such a treat for you guys. We've been giggling and talking about our own doctor, professional sexologist, Dr Elna Rudolph. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself, Elna, and tell our talkers a little bit about yourself.
I am a medical doctor and a sexologist. I'm the clinical head of my sexual health, and I've never walked into a room full of women in lingerie, full disclosure.
And we offered her some, and she was like, no, thank you.
No, thanks. Kaftan.
Can we say Dr. Elna? Elna, how can we go Elna? No. I guess in production. So yeah, come on, my gin noon. Susie drink.
Production gin. Then if you want to call me Elna, then you production gin.
Thank you so much for taking your time out to chat to us. So we want to just dive into it. I mean, we've been talking about intimacy. I mean, we left our talkers with a very interesting box last time with a little bit of goodies. As mothers, we really trying to delve into issues that affect the everyday woman, South African family, and sexuality, embracing our sexuality, sex, intimacy is something we really want to touch on. So we've got a few questions to chat to you about, but if you can just, yeah. So I don't know if you want to start.
Yeah, sure. I think to start it off would best be to understand how important is sex within a marriage.
Look, sex in a marriage is as important as the distress caused by not having it is. Because in couples who have good sex naturally, who don't have a problem with sex, they will tell you that, no, sex isn't that important, they just cruise along. But if there's a problem in the bedroom, then all of a sudden it becomes extremely important. From a spiritual perspective, of course, I think it is very important. But you understand, if it doesn't cause distress, it doesn't hit very high on the importance list. But if there's distress, it can be completely overwhelming in a relationship.
I've heard that if it's going good, it's 5% of the marriage. If
Yeah.
it's going bad, it's 95% of the
Exactly.
marriage.
That is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to talk a little bit. We were talking about, in the beginning when you meet your partner, there's this honeymoon phase and there's just so much sexual energy and you guys just want to be around each other all the time. And what we found and what our talkers have been speaking to us about is that, as you start getting into this relationship and becoming married and having a sexual relationship with your partner, it seems like we seem to lose our confidence. Why do you think that is? Why do women, I can speak for myself where in my relationship with my husband, in the beginning, I was just so confident. I just embraced my power. And now it's like I'm all of a sudden starting to doubt myself, who I am, how I look. So I don't know if you can just sort of...
No, look, I can have about 3 hours of consultations with you about the things that you said there, because it is fascinating that you lose your confidence, because you lose your libido, yes. And you lose that natural spark does go away, because in the beginning it's almost like having obsessive compulsive disorder, where you've got these obsessive thoughts and you can't help but think about them, and there's a natural attraction. But after 3 years of committed relationships, most of that disappear. Usually you get the odd couple who will have this passionate sex their whole lives, but mostly after 3 years the passionate part of sex actually disappears. But it's interesting for me why you would say that you've lost your confidence. So is your confidence related to your body? You use the word power. We can talk for days about power, so I'm not sure what it is in your case.
Help?
Yeah.
This is actually a good session.
Because I'm not going to say too much, and I'm not going to. Don't worry, your secrets are safe. The secrets are safe. But for me, it was a very. It's almost like that sexual energy was the catalyst for my confidence. And now you're a mom, and for me, I train all the time, and I'm not somebody that fixates on my body, but it's just the inner side. It's like almost like, maybe does my husband still find me attractive? Maybe that's where it's coming from.
Is it maybe also, if I can ask, that we're growing, we don't look the way we used to look when we were 20 and we were so attractive at that time, and our hair was long, whatever, like when you're 20, everything.
My hair's never going to be long.
No, but I mean, like, you think you're walking on sunshine. Yeah. Now you're a mother, there's a roleki there and there's children, you tired, you sweating, and then you're like, okay. And there's not even time to dress up. Maybe we used to dress up in the beginning. Now it's like, what? Maybe that can take the confidence away. I don't know.
Your partner doesn't look like a 20-year-old anymore either.
Either, yes.
So
But
that's
why is
also
it
not
so hectic for
helping.
women?
No, I don't. Well, I don't know if it necessarily is more than for men, or should we be taking so much of the responsibility onto ourselves? Because really, the way that you've been speaking, if we all spoke about our husbands, we could say the same for them. You know, they also got that extra roliki and whatever now. So
Do they see our rollikies? Because I was told that a man doesn't see your little stretch marks. He just sees boobies and he's mesmerized. Is that the truth?
yeah, look, that's a very big generalization, but generally that is the case, that they are just so happy to get sex that they really don't mind who it's from. But also, the thing is, what I see in my practice is the skinniest girls who have only letters have the worst sex, and the ones with a little bit more rollikis and who are just capable of enjoying life itself more are actually capable of enjoying sex as much, you know, because if you have hang-ups about everything, you probably have hang-ups about sex as well. And really, people with the most awkward bodies, you know, people will walk in there and they really don't match. It's definitely not the Cosmo front page guy or men's health, women's health couple. Really, those people tend to not have fantastic sex because of all of their body issues and stuff. But, you know, just normal people can have great sex.
But also, just to interject there, after 5 years, 3 years, whatever of marriage, why is that even important? Why would you be concerned if he has a stretch mark or if you have a stretch mark? Because intimacy is so much more than that. It's not like when you first get married. It's you've now connected at a different, more soulful way, that physical aspect is no longer as important.
That's great if it is like that, but it's not like that for many people, you know. There are 4 reasons for women to engage in sex, or 4 groups of reasons. Actually, there are more than 200. But the first group of reasons is lust and passion. So that's what you have in the beginning.
That's in the beginning, yes.
Yes, and then the second group of reasons is around intimacy. So that's the connection.
Yes.
And you can have unbelievably intimate, beautiful sex with a person that you don't even know.
Oh.
Yeah, you can. I mean, if that fits into your moral context. But you understand, you
Yikes.
don't have to know each other very well to have beautifully intimate sex. In fact, the fact that you know each other so well might actually make it more difficult to have intimate sex. But anyway.
Just remember that they didn't take out the bin this morning.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And that you have to make a budget work with them and actually go and visit your in-laws, you know, and all of those things might make it more difficult to be intimate. And then the other group of reasons is just actually feeling good about yourself. So ticking boxes. So, you know, if you go to the gym 3 times a week and you cook 5 healthy meals this week, you feel good. And if you have sex once or twice or 3 times, whatever works in your relationship, you feel good. So that might be a reason to have it. Not because of lust or passion, not because of intimacy, but just to tick your box. And the 4th group of reasons is actually about manipulation. Like, I don't want to drive an old car and live in a townhouse, so
You lie!
I'll give you sex so that you don't divorce me.
In a marriage!
I see it.
I got so loud there. What about love? Don't you just have sex with your husband because you love him?
You can, and that's beautiful, but that's not the only reason why people have sex with their husbands.
Shouldn't it be the number one reason?
In
an ideal world.
We're in an
an
ideal
ideal
world.
world.
We're looking at a funnel system here. No, it's not the same. Like you're talking about, for me, I wanted to talk about, you mentioned something very interesting, like you don't have to have a budget with them. So the day-to-day aspects might affect. But what would you say about role-playing? Is that a way to get out of that? Yes. Would you suggest something like that?
Yeah, that works quite well. And when you were asking about stretch marks and stuff like that, the thing is, what I see in couples who get stuck in a rut when it comes to sex is they lose eroticism. There's no eroticism there anymore. You know, they know exactly what works and they keep doing it exactly the same way. And monotony and eroticism are basically the opposites of each other. So if you could bring in...
What is that for a girl from Mami Lodi?
Eroticism is just maybe a big spanking, twisting of the nipple, a biting of the ear, whatever it is, you know. So if you are asked, what do you find erotic during sex? what will really turn you on. So many women, our love language, for instance, is words of affirmation. We actually find it erotic to hear good things about your body, or to hear how we arouse our partners. That might be erotic. Or other people find like dirty talk, like actually like really dirty talk erotic, I would find it quite off-putting, but that's how we all differ. Yes, and that's why people, do get into latex and bondage and stuff like that, because that is a way for them to introduce eroticism into the bedroom.
Sorry,
Yeah.
continue. You were saying.
Yes, so I was saying about the eroticism, and you were saying about?
I was saying about role play.
Role play, yes. So look, role play is fantastic. If you can do it in a fun way, and if it's something that works for you, then it's great. I think it is not everybody's cup of tea, but there's nothing wrong with it, because your strongest sex organ is your brain. So if that's your way of engaging your brain in what's happening there, go for it.
While we're on eroticism, I have a question regarding it. So my struggle, wow, how do you say this on camera, guys? Is where did I draw the line? Because my nature is very conservative, but in the bedroom it's not. And and so, I mean, my husband works and he does whatever, so I take over the bedroom aspect and keep things adventurous and playful. And what I found is sometimes when I would be looking into things like clamping or whatever it may be, and I'm just like,
Glow in the dark glitter.
whatever, yes, glow in the dark glitter and whatever. I always wondered, like, where do you draw the line between intimacy and lust? Because I always have this perception that because of, like, from a biblical perspective, lust is bad. So if it becomes...
Just call it eroticism in your head.
Okay, and eroticism is okay.
There's a whole book in the Bible full of erotic literature.
Okay, tell me where it is.
Songs
of Solomon.
Pretty erotic.
But I think because, the way we're raised, you go from thou shalt not to thou shalt. Then you're like, whoa, it plays on your brain to like, and in terms of not where to draw the line or where to undraw the lines. And I think it's like, what permission do we have and what permissions don't we have and what is permissible and what is not permissible. And I think that also goes into confidence for women because you don't know where you can play. And I think, to even know that you can even have such a career as a sexologist, is that even okay? Like what is okay and what is not?
Yeah.
Can you maybe talk to us about?
Look, well, now we've known each other for like best part of 20 years now, and you would not have called that I'll become a sexologist, I'm sure.
Never. You are the most conservative.
Yeah. So I,
you and I, we're there.
So I, on the one hand, I actually know that it has actually always been my calling, that even my conservatism or conservatism is
new word,
has actually set the stage for me to be able to do what I do today, because particularly religious people relate well with me because I am that Afrikaans Christian girl. They understand how to box me, so the Jewish girl also relates well with me, and the Muslim girl relates well with me, and the Hindu girl relate well with me because they understand where they understand how to box me, actually. Once you get out of the idea that, Christians shouldn't be sexologists kind of thing. So, and I'm not shameful. Look, I'm extremely shameful. So bitterly shameful and heartsore about the pain that Christians have caused people related to sexuality because we are so judgmental, so... No, really. So that I'm very shameful of, but of my personal beliefs and morals, not. But it took me such a long time to learn that although I can be 1,000,000% convinced of something, it does not mean that I have to impose those ideas on other people, and that I can fully respect another person's views. So, and it took me long. It took me years. It took me multiple degrees, literally, to get there. And I remember when we were students, I actually spoke to my professor about it this week. They were asking us to be involved in third trimester termination of pregnancy. So babies that have some form of abnormality, and then the baby would be put some poison in the heart while it's still in the mother, and then we needed to induce the abortion. And we refused to get involved with that as students, and we got into big trouble. And somebody said that, you know, we are so immature, and that the students shouldn't be as immature as us. And I said, no, never be mature enough to kill babies. And you know, there's a certain although today, you know, I fully support the full range of sexual and reproductive health and rights packages that countries have to offer. I do support it.
Yes.
But there's a fine line between becoming mature enough to accept certain things and to letting go of your morals, you know.
Yes.
So yes, I like, for instance, being able to help transgender people. This is now not about you guys' bedroom, but I'll just explain a little bit about my journey there. I couldn't, because, you know, if God made you in a certain way, how can I change you? But then one day I realized, oh, okay, so rich coming from me, it's okay for me to have a boob job because I'm not happy with the body that God gave me. And nobody judges me. I don't have to go and see a psychologist, and, you know, my family is not going to be ostracized because I had a boob job.
Yes.
But a transgender person is just a person not happy with their bodies. There's nothing wrong in their brains or who they are. Their bodies just doesn't correlate with who they really are, and I help them to change their bodies, you know, like I could change mine. So you understand, there's a maturation process there that makes me able to do my job in certain aspects, and other things will probably never change for me, but it doesn't have to mean that it shouldn't change for anybody else. And, you know, and even just the way that I said it earlier, like killing babies, just saying that, you know how many people that could hurt, the way that I said it. See, I even want to cry just talking about that now, because the last thing I want to do is hurt more women.
Yeah.
So, you know, I say it out of that, like that, because of my personal journey, but I don't want to hurt more women by talking about that in like a derogatory kind of way, or, yes.
And their reasons and their decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really fully respect that. Although it would be wonderful if we could live in a world where there was never any unintended pregnancies, but we don't live in such a world. Yeah. But anyway, this is not the conversation you guys had in mind, I'm sure.
I think that because the whole point of this is the point of a woman from this perspective of sexual health and sexual maturity. And I mean, we're now seeing from different religions and even different cultures, you know, you grow up with certain perspectives and ways. And I think maybe I'm sliding this in, the question is maybe just steps for women to be confident in their sexuality. If you can share some tips with us, because we're all so different, but we all have confidence issues. And just to even bring up this topic, it's just like a thing. So step 1, 2, 3 on bringing confidence up.
Can I tell you something about a cultural thing as a friend, that in most of the African cultures that I've come across, and I'm talking like way up above Central Africa, women's sexuality is so underplayed that if there's a problem in the bedroom, it can't even be the woman's problem. You understand? So if, let's say, the
man's problem.
No, the woman's problem, because sex is only for the man. So if something is wrong, it can only be with the man. So for instance, you know, like an unconsummated marriage, for instance, the problem can only be with a man. It cannot be with a woman. Whereas I've seen probably 1,000 unconsummated marriages in which 995 were the problem was with the women. But because our sexuality, our right to sexual pleasure has been so downplayed, they've only focused on our ability to procreate and then ways of helping us to, and pleasure has never been even on the agenda for women. So the idea is around pleasure and your right to pleasure. So if you could really be convinced of the fact, and that's the kind of thing that I will teach my daughters, that they have absolutely the right to pleasure in the bedroom, and that they should be taught how to say yes and yes please, and exactly how, what, and when and where. Yes, as opposed to no, because you know what we teach our daughters, that your no doesn't really actually mean anything, because like I hold my child down and brush their teeth while they shout no, but I continue doing it every day. So, and then that's the only discourse that we have with our daughters about sex, that you should be saying no, but your no doesn't actually mean anything, so you're basically just left at your own mercy. Whereas what we should be teaching them is to say how to say yes. This is what I want. Not no, don't do it, no, don't do it. So do it.
That's a yes. Do it like
Because
this on this part.
exactly from school, because if she doesn't have the vocabulary, the cognition to say I want you to touch my boob, it shouldn't be done. If it wasn't expressed explicitly, I want you to do it, it shouldn't be done. Because what we teach our daughters is implied consent. So he must try, he must push, he must just push a bit harder. And then if you don't say no, then that means yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is
It's
bull.
wrong, and it perpetuates rape culture because the guys are taught the same thing. So the men also don't know how to tell. So the men have been taught test the waters, right? And the women have also been told, don't say touch my boobie, baby. Just be like, just wait, and then be like, okay,
And that's probably
it's
why
rape
so
culture
many
and
men
consent is a problem because
during
of that.
like hashtag Me Too, men
They
were
were
like, what do you mean? I
confused.
didn't.
They were confused because
And
it's
then
that
somebody
teaching
knows.
of not teaching women to
Not
own
an
their
excuse.
sexuality and be and verbalize what they want, and then teaching guys to test the water. So it perpetuates rape culture.
Just to touch on that as well, I wanted to ask this question. In a marriage, okay, so we go back to the marriage and by the bedroom. Do you find that when you speak to men, do men and women, do they come as couples therapy? Do men want to know what you want them to do to you?
Oh, yes.
Do they want that instruction? Because sometimes you also feel like, oh, can I ask for that again, or was that too much this week? So you can like say, I want that. I want, because for me, talking about spirituality is very important. I mean, we're sitting in a room full of women. I was taught I wouldn't even have sex if it was for my church. Like, it was like no go. So for me, I had to overcome sex being dirty first, and that's what I want to know. Like, sometimes maybe that's where the confidence drops a bit, because I want to be able. There's moments where I'll say that's what I want, and then moments that I pull back again. So do men like when you take the initiative and you actually take charge?
Yeah, most
in the
do.
bedroom.
Most do. I mean, not everybody.
We're going to stick with one.
So it depends on the power dynamics in your
Is it?
particular
Okay.
relationship. But look, if I had to ask the last 100 men that walked in through my door, if their partners told them, this is what I want, how I want it, when I want it, would that excite them or intimidate them? Probably 80% it would excite them.
Okay.
I do see the opposite, where these, and this I also now see like in the Black Diamond kind of culture in, many of the people who see me here in Bryanston are like that, where the women are the wealthy ones, the powerful ones, the ones from the wealthy families or whatever, and they are now more sexually assertive. They maybe have the better education, and they say, I want A, B, C, and D, and the guys can't keep up. Yes, so I do see those men that are intimidated, and then of course what
I'm
you will
probably
find.
intimidated because they aren't on top in other areas.
Exactly, yes, exactly that, and that makes it difficult for them to then have confidence in the bedroom. So I also see that, but I see the flip side more often.
I just want to know, I think, what are the top 3, maybe, I know it's probably a hard one to answer, top 3 reasons why people actually come to a sexologist. What are the problems that they're usually facing?
Low libido, low libido, and low libido.
Low libido.
Yeah,
Wow.
and then
The top 3, okay.
yeah. No, really, I see a lot of low libido. It also depends on what kind of therapist you are. If you look at the whole My Sexual Health group, what we probably see most, all of us, because we are 45 people on the team, is sexual pain. Women who have pain during sex. but it is because there's a lot of physios on our team and they treat particularly that. The most common problem that I see men for is erectile dysfunction, but premature ejaculation, men who can't have an orgasm, women who can't orgasm, literally anything, menopause, contraception,
Women, wait,
weight
stop
loss,
there. Women
weight
who
loss.
can't orgasm.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that, please? Women who can't orgasm.
Is it a psychological?
It probably, there could be a component, it could be medicine, it could be hormones.
Or medication impact.
Yeah. So up to 1 in 10 women can't orgasm. Probably between 1 in 10 and 1 in 20 women
How do you
can't
fix
orgasm.
that?
So
It's terrible.
from a medical perspective, I'll look at the hormones and at the medicine, make sure that there isn't a medical reason for it and that I can't change medicine.
Yes.
And then masturbation, basically.
Okay.
So the principle is, and I know that, people have different views about masturbation from a religious perspective, and all religions do, but this is the academic, yes, the principle is, if you have never had an orgasm and now you're trying to orgasm while you've got the spectator who's there, and I always say to guys when I teach them, before like these premarital courses that I do at the church, I say, it doesn't work like a lift where you press the button and then it's like, is it coming? Is it coming? Is it coming? And so guys are often like that. Like your orgasm is so important to them that they put so much pressure on you to have it that you lose arousal completely and interest, and it's just a negative experience all in all.
Okay.
So the idea is to take the pressure away. We use a small little bullet vibrator like that because most women's orgasm is clitoral, and
The little lipstick one.
yes, and we get them to engage their brain. So some might need to read some erotic literature. You could read Song of Solomon's, might be Song of Solomon.
Yes.
Ja. Hooglied in Afrikaans.
Songs.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a very good erotic literature that you can find on your phone.
Yeah.
And that's not off-putting, because like for a Christian married woman, you might not want to read about people cheating or
Of course,
threesomes
yes.
or something like that, you might just
Yes.
want to read a bit about body parts and how it is stimulated in an erotic manner, and that gives you ideas as well for what you might enjoy or not. Because if you read something about somebody being spanked, I'm like, honestly, regtig, ek kry daar groot mes en ek sal weer terug. So, but it might, but for somebody else, it's like, oh yeah, that's nice. What did he spank with? Ooh, what can you spank with? How can you spank? So then you get ideas about what it is that you might like and not like. And really, the internet, 80% of the internet is porn. So, but there is a big amount of erotic literature that's actually accessible to Christian women. So you engage your brain, and then when you've engaged your brain, then you do the physical stimulation, and the most effective way to do the physical stimulation is a little bullet vibrator.
Yeah.
And then you just create that pathway in your brain where you have that first orgasm. And when you've had that first orgasm, you have those first 10 orgasms, and then you incorporate your partner. And
That is
And
fascinating.
I've never, ever, 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 ever come across a woman that became addicted to a vibrator.
That was there you go, Nolu. Can we ask that?
So, toys, I think they creep me out for various reasons.
Tell us, Nolu. Tell us those reasons.
So when we were having this conversation, Dr. Elna, we spoke on our own and we were like, okay, so what are we going to cover? And then we got into our own sexual, experiences and toys. And I just sat there with my mouth open like, no, toys for what? What are you going to do with that? What do you do? And I think it's because of all the misconceptions I have. Like, I'm glad you've addressed one of them, which is that you can't get addicted. Because I thought, listen, if it's as good as people are saying it is, then you're going to be like, I know we just did it now, but I need some more from this toy.
Or that you don't want to do it without it anymore.
Or you can't reach orgasm without
step
the
aside,
toy.
we have a new toy.
Yes. And I felt like maybe it creates a division between the pleasure you have with the toy versus the pleasure you have with your partner, and that could impact negatively with you and your partner if your partner is not pleasuring you as well as the toy does. So how do you, first of all, so you can't get addicted to it, but how do you work out making sure that it doesn't overshadow your intimate relationship with your partner once you're getting so much pleasure from all these toys in this box?
It basically is like asking me, how can I make sure that I'll still enjoy pizza if I sometimes have ice cream? But if I have ice cream every single day, am I then still going to enjoy pizza? Or if I have pizza and ice cream every day, or will I sometimes after I have pizza still crave ice cream? It's two completely different things. And don't try and...
It won't overshadow the other.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is nicer to have sex with a vibrator than with a man, but you know, you're not going to build your life with a vibrator.
You don't have to have a budget with the vibrator, which is
Look, you might. There's a very good chance that your orgasm with the vibrator might be much more intense than it is with
But
the
then
man.
what does that mean for your marriage?
What? You know, is your marriage built on the intensity of your orgasm?
I mean, it's important.
No, but you know, your orgasm intensity will change when you're pregnant, when you go on to certain birth control, when you go into menopause, when you're tired, when you have depression. So
Libido, the impact of medication, age on libido. How do you resolve that? Because let's say you're on a chronic med that you can't come off.
Yes.
But your sex life was here, and then a month after you started the meds, you were here, and now what do you do? And you're so used to being that person who was like all the time.
all that I can say is that there is help for it. Like on Saturday, I did an hour lecture for doctors just on that. So, you know, it's quite complicated, all of the different things that you can do. You can see me, you can, but there are, no, but really, at My Sexual Health. So you can go to mysexualhealth.co.za, and there are many doctors and lots of psychologists, and then, as I said, even physiotherapists and all kinds of therapists that work with these things. So you can think, is your problem more primarily psychological? Is it primarily medical? Some people have a hunch that it is the one or the other and start at the one place or the other, and then we will refer to the other person. It depends on what the situation is. We prefer a very holistic treatment. You know, if I could refer everybody to the psychologist as well, I would. But sometimes we fix it easy with medicine. Sometimes people are so resistant to go to the psychologist, or sometimes somebody's been at the psychologist for years, never had that blood test, and all along it's actually been a medical problem.
So, doctor, I'm going to ask, and also as a black woman in our culture, I mean, just to get men to go get a flu medicine, to take them to the doctor, just you've got
people are the
also okay, everybody. And then now you know what I'm going to ask. How do you get anyone, and especially with almost such a taboo topic, to go, I think we need sexual help here? How do we get to go, first of all, how do we bring it up in a relationship or in a connected relationship, and bringing it up, number one, and number two, how do we actually land up at My Sexual Health?
No, look, everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
And my best advice is spontaneous honesty. So if you're watching this and you already have a problem, just immediately go to your partner and say, you won't believe it, I've just watched this show, there's help out there, let's go. You know, no, but really, spontaneous honesty is actually the easiest. Yes. And then if ever there's a problem, say you don't have a problem now, but if ever there's a problem that arises, just say immediately afterwards, oh, I noticed that you had premature ejaculation. By the way, don't worry, it happens from time to time. It doesn't bother me. But, you know, after the 10th time, you might be like, oh, you know what, there's actually very, very easy medical treatment for it. Let's go and see somebody. Everybody does it. So, you know, don't make it into too much of an issue. Do you remember what it was like speaking to your mom about sex?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, we don't do that.
It's never happened.
Because,
It's never happened.
so,
No, I don't remember.
why? Because your mom is so awkward. Imagine, is your mom still alive now?
Yeah.
So imagine now going to your mom and bringing up the conversation about how easy it is for her to orgasm.
What?
Okay, so why not? Because you know how uncomfortable she will be talking about it. So if you bring up a conversation and you are very uncomfortable when you bring it up, like when I remember when my mom brought up the topic of sex with me, I could just perceive that discomfort, you know, and she certainly made sex look like something very mysterious, and something mysterious might excite many people or it might scare them. That depends on your sexual arousal template. But, you know, to most of us, it's like, like that. So then if you like that, when you speak to your partner, look, I don't want to offend you, and I don't want to step on your toes, but, you know, this is so awkward for me, but I think it should last a bit longer, then it's going to be really difficult, you know. But it's like, You wouldn't believe it, but there's a medicine that you can take that can double your intravaginal latency time. So let's go and check it out.
I think if I'm understanding what you're saying is that there's food, there's sex, there's health, all of it, it's just like anything else in life.
Yeah. Look, and really, I said to my husband yesterday, I don't know why, but it's the first time that I thought about it, that when I drove to meet him, it was a blind date, I got a flat tire on the highway. And I've only had one other flat tire in my life. And I said to him, you know why I thought about it? Because, at least once a month, I think I shouldn't have done this. But anyway, it happens. You doubt why you made that decision. It's normal. But I realized that it's like and he said, why do you think that happened? Do you think God was trying to tell you something? And I said, no, I actually think that the devil was trying to intervene in something really divine here. And what happens in sex is what is left in darkness can be so unbelievably destructive, and it is in the realm of Satan, if we are speaking to Christians here. So if you leave it in the dark, it can cause destruction. But the moment you bring it into the light, then you can be honest about it. And I'm much more concerned about how is your man going to react to a child's cancer or a parent's death or whatever if they can't just man up if they have ED. You understand? It is nothing compared to something like that. So I think we must stop making such a big issue out of it. And there was another thing. I must actually say it in Afrikaans. But my dad said to me, I drove 1,000 kilometers with him in the week. And he said to me, no, his friend told him that, you know what, your wife should never let you leave the house without, with full balls and an empty stomach, because you might just as well meet a woman of lesser morals with a sandwich.
I love your dad.
No, my dad's an idiot if he quotes that. And I said to him, oh my goodness, that is wrong on so many different levels.
But listen, it's not like it hasn't crossed our minds. Husband's going on a business trip, get it together. You might be tired, but
No, look, that narrative puts a man in a position where he has zero power. Poor me. If my wife doesn't give me sex, I might have to take it somewhere else, What nonsense.
Why, how come nobody's ever worried about the woman? Yeah. No one says, don't let your wife leave the house
without an orgasm.
But on your father's great note, I think the conversation is pretty much done. But thank you so much. You were amazing. I think I need to talk to you. We all need to talk to you.
The world needs to talk.
The world needs to talk to you because
after the camera stops rolling, let's continue chatting, Elna. Don't go on.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. So nice to be with you again. Huh?
Guys, me and Elna go way back. But it's good to see.
No, and can I tell you something, whether you put this on camera or not? But you remember when we did Stir, and the mission statement that came out of that Stir thing. Now and I were involved in this thing.
Guys,
we won
my
a
past life
prize
is coming
for
out. A prize.
Yes, at university, and we developed software to help people to discover their purpose in life, and that's actually why I'm a sexologist today, because I saw, I promise you, in that mission statement, I saw that I needed to go and do a master's in sexual health, and I didn't think I'll end up being a sexologist, helping people with their actual sex one day. I thought that it was just going to be on a more global level, advising government and stuff like that. But when you're 28 and you have a master's degree, the government doesn't want advice from you. So I needed to get to 40. But it's actually you've actually been part of the whole journey that brings me here today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm like, what? Elna?
Yeah.
Yes, see. Oh, guys. Thanks, guys. Comment below. Like, subscribe.
please, if you've got any more questions for Elna, please do write on our page. Comment. Tick, tick, tick. We want to hear from you. Let us know what you think. She was amazing and we learned a lot. Sexual health is not just about, we learned so much. It's not just about having sex and everyone must have sex 3 times a week. It's about you, what makes you happy. And also, it's really also medical, right? There's like a lot of medical issues that happen. It's not just about, it's not just what we think it is. Let me just put it there. But what we're going to do is after this, we're going to continue the conversation and have more of a conversation about what we thought of what Elna has taught us and what is in this box. So stay tuned.